Good day everyone, I'm Lynette Lee, the Head of Strategic Credit and Economic Analytics in SME Bank. As an economist, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this session to explore the latest economic trends and the pulse of the Malaysian economy. Prices of raw materials and commodities such as food and fuel have surged. In Malaysia, headline inflation has been relatively benign at 2.8% compared to 9.1% in the US, largely because over 40% of our CPI components are subsidized. Businesses are urged to monitor their cost structure closely and proactively source for alternatives if possible. Should businesses require additional financing for working capital due to insufficient cash flow to manage higher salaries, raw materials, utility and production costs, they should consult their bankers as early as possible. Micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, make up 97% of overall business establishments and contributed 38% share of Malaysia's GDP. At present, cost pass-through from companies to households is partially cushioned by government subsidies and price controls. However, businesses that are labour-intensive, reliant on commodities and raw materials, and have high import content would be more severely affected. Businesses can hedge imported goods or raw materials to mitigate higher costs from ringgit movement. SME Bank offers hedging facility. Regarding the higher oil price environment, Malaysia could benefit as a net exporter via the upstream mining and quarrying sector as well as supply chain and supporting industries. For instance, the transportation, distribution of fuel, construction and repair of pipelines, cleaning services of sea tankers and engineering consultancy services, amongst others. Nonetheless, participation of SMEs in the mining industry is significantly small, with only approximately 4,500 firms or 0.4% of total SMEs in the country. Around 1 million SMEs or 84% of businesses are concentrated in the services industry. During the first quarter of 2022, subsectors in the services industry were least affected by the rising costs. However, with minimum wage hike that came into force in May 2022 and inflation spillover effects from the primary and manufacturing sectors, we foresee an uptick in the producer price index for the services industry, led by the food and beverages subsectors, amusement and recreation activities. In fact, food inflation makes up 30% of the consumer inflation and has climbed to 5.3% in May compared to the pre-pandemic's 5-year average of 3%. Higher inflation will disproportionately affect different households, as the B40 group spends relatively more on food, i.e. 35% of monthly expenditure, as opposed to the M40 group 30% and T20 group 23%, price pressures driven by food items will be felt more severely by the lower income households.